Welcome to Lemoore City Council Chambers located at 429 C Street. This is the August 5th meeting. Please silence all electronic devices as a courtesy to those in attendance. Thank you. If you could please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. The invocation is given by Kimberly Nelson, from Lifeway Church.
Father God, we come before you, Lord, and we thank you for this time that you've allowed for us to have. Lord God, we invite you into this meeting and we ask you for your guidance. We ask for your protection as children are going to be going back to school next week, that you would be with the teachers and the children and all the staff, Lord, and the parents that are releasing their babies into the school's hands. We ask, Father God, for the police, for the fire department, for the ambulance, for those sitting at this panel, Lord, for your hand of protection to be upon them, Lord. We thank you, Father God, for who you are and what you're doing. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Councilmember Brewster.
Here.
Councilmember Lyons.
Present.
Councilmember Cruz.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Gornick.
On his way.
And Mayor Matthews.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. He's on his way.
It sounds like he's late.
That's exactly.
Oh.
We have no ceremonial presentations, so we'll go ahead and move into study session. We have item 2-1, Kings County Farm Bureau. Dusty Ferentz, would you like to present for us today?
Good evening. Thanks for having me, Mayor Matthews and City Council. As mentioned, I'm Dusty Ferentz. I'm the Executive Director of the Kings County Farm Bureau. And I'm here tonight to talk to you all about the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act and the legal action that KCFB has taken against the State Water Resources Control Board. We have a presentation with just a few slides to go through for you guys. But for a bit of background, after submitting 2 groundwater sustainability plans to the Department of Water Resources, DWR referred the Tulare Lake Subbasin to the State Water Resources Control Board and suggested a probationary designation under SGMA for the subbasin. Unfortunately, in April of 2024, the state board acted on that recommendation and did in fact place the subbasin on probation under SGMA. And what that means for the majority of Kings County, or what that would have meant rather for the majority of Kings County agriculture and industrial pumpers, is mandatory water use reporting to the State Water Resources Control Board, $20 per acre foot pumped water fees to the state board, and along with a $300 per well registration fee. And most importantly, the State Water Board could have in April of 2025 implemented their own groundwater sustainability plan, which in effect would have meant zero groundwater pumping other than domestic uses here in the subbasin. I believe that you all are pretty aware of all of that, but wanted to be on the record with that bit of background information. And I'm sure you're aware of this next slide too. When a state agency takes an action like that, the affected parties have only 30 days to challenge that decision in court. So fortunately, in May of last year, Kings County Farm Bureau filed a lawsuit over the probationary designation. And we've been successful, first with a temporary restraining order issued in July of 24, and then a preliminary injunction issued in September. Those 2 actions by the Superior Court here in Kings County prevented the State Water Board from implementing any of those actions I mentioned earlier, and prevented fees being paid to the state board until the court rules on the lawsuit. Unfortunately, the State Water Resources Control Board has appealed the preliminary injunction. Not anything else. We still have to go to trial no matter the outcome of the preliminary injunction appeal. But they have held us up and we're stuck in appeal and will be for the foreseeable future. Our estimates think we might hear something from the appeals court in November of this year, but likely not until after the first of the year. Unlike the lower courts, the appeals court works on their own timeline and isn't mandated to rule. So we're in a holding pattern right now. That takes us to our next slide. There's several causes of action. I failed to mention before I started in the packet that you all received, there's a white paper. This goes into detail about everything we're talking about tonight and then some. And there's a full list of the causes of action on that white paper. But I bring those up to you guys tonight because we started with 8 causes. We dropped 1. We've got 7 active causes of action in court. And the trial court judge has told us that we will win on most of those cases, and we're likely to win on the other, not cases, but causes of action. So we've got a very strong case, and we think that is part of the reason that the State Water Board appealed the preliminary injunction. That takes us to our next slide. And you may have heard in the news, but I want to talk to you guys about the statewide implications of the lawsuit filed by Kings County Farm Bureau. It was filed to protect the Tulare Lake Subbasin here in Kings County, but it has a much broader scope and a lot of breadth. We've seen subbasins be treated completely different as they go before the State Water Board for probationary consideration after our lawsuit. The Tule Subbasin received kind of good actor clause or good actor considerations, which we were told last year didn't apply at this stage of the game under Sigma. Not sure why the state board changed their mind, but they have. In Kern County, we saw the state board have a probationary hearing, not make a decision, and tell the Kern subbasin to come back in September of this year after they've submitted a new plan, there's not a clear path in the law for that to happen. And then I think most interestingly, the Chowchilla subbasin had a probationary hearing scheduled, but before that hearing date, the State Water Board said, no, never mind. We're not gonna have a probationary hearing for Chowchilla. You guys are now back in the hands of the Department of Water Resources, who is the state agency responsible for implementing this law. And that's just how that's how it's affected the state in the short term. It's important to remember that in Sigma, every 5 years, every subbasin, every GSA has to report to the Department of Water Resources what they've done and how they're measuring sustainability against their initial plan. And at those 5-year check-ins, any subbasin is subject to being placed on probation at that time for noncompliance. The reason that our lawsuit is so important in those 5-year check-ins is not only for the Tulare Lake subbasin, but other subbasins in California. The law says one thing, the Department of Water Resources and the State Water Board move the goalposts. They move the marker of success arbitrarily and without notice. So they see a plan or they see progress towards a plan, they decide they don't like it, they don't have to explain it, or they haven't explained it rather, and they tell you that you're non-compliant, and then you've got an issue. Our lawsuit will codify these actions and force the Department of Water Resources and the State Board to comply with the Administrative Procedures Act, and other laws that exist in California to make sure that we know where the goal line is and we know how to cross it. Excuse me. So that's the long-term implication for this lawsuit against the State Water Resources Control Board. That takes us to our next slide. As I mentioned, you guys are all aware of this. This is an opportunity for us to thank you for the amicus brief that you guys filed earlier in the year in our favor. Having the city and any other entity like a city support our efforts is a huge win in the court of public opinion and in the eyes of the law, right? To have the cities who will be affected by this and whose citizens are affected by this law, to have that kind of support officially documented and usable goes a long way in our efforts. And we wanted to take this opportunity to thank you guys for your courageous action. Nobody else is doing that. No other city is doing that. The counties aren't doing it, but you guys stepped up and showed some real leadership this year, and we really appreciate that. That takes us to what I think is our last slide, or close to our last slide. And I really kind of covered this slide already. This is bigger than agriculture. This is bigger than Kings County. We are fighting a statewide fight to protect agriculture and small communities throughout California. And we can't let this, and we have to win. We're going to win. We've got a good, strong case. We've got the right attorneys. But this affects everybody. If even members of the city that don't think they're directly related to agriculture in Kings County and in many rural cities in California, you are. And we have to make sure that agriculture thrives so that the rest of the city survives. So those were my talking points, but really I want to take a minute and answer any questions that you all might have about our efforts, where this is headed, what we hope to achieve. Anything you need to know, I'm here to try and answer those questions.
Any questions from council? I know you touched on it a little bit right now, but if you could just maybe go a little bit deeper. When I attended the meeting a few months ago, you kind of talked a little more about how else the community is affected, where if we lose agricultural jobs here in Lemoore, Hanford, Kings County in general, what effects that has on all of us.
Yes, excuse me. We're seeing some of those impacts right now, unfortunately. In 2023, agriculture paid somewhere in the neighborhood of $17 million in property taxes to the county. Those property taxes fund schools and first responders. You guys all know that. But those numbers are huge. As property values decrease in this instance, property taxes change. In that same economic impact report, we found that agriculture in Kings County was directly responsible for 1 in 4 jobs in the county. And that includes trucking and manufacturing, which a lot of times are excluded. But 1 in 4 jobs in agriculture right here in Kings County. So when you look at those impacts, they're tremendous. And the trickle down and the multiplier in the local economy is huge.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the public on this item? Seeing none, thank you so much for your presentation and taking time out of your day to come in and share this information with us.
Thank you for the opportunity and thank you for the support. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
I have a comment.
Sorry, we have a comment online.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
My name's Thomas Marhart. I'm one of the people here living in Lemoore. And I mean, just think about what would happen if you lose up to 1 million acres of farm production just in and around Kings County. I mean, that's probably equivalent to losing a couple of Leprinos overnight in terms of revenue, tax dollars, and everything that goes with it. And this entire SGMA thing was caused years ago by them taking millions of acre feet away from the valley over some of these fishy lawsuits that they contrived between the NRDC, the Sierra Club, and their friends in the EPA. They essentially gamed the court system and used a form of lawfare to create the cause to take the water away and cause all of the problems that we have seen unfolding, a few million acres a year being taken away for the past 10 years to where we are today. Now they think they're going to solve the problem with SGMA by cranking down further. We got into this mess because there was legal gaming of the courts. And I think the only way out of this is basically to sue them until you win. The water policies in the state are what I think are an unconstitutional taking under the Fifth Amendment's takings clause. And you need to push hard on that to drive that home, because you've got farmers with 100 acres worth $40,000 an acre, and they got to set half of that aside under SGMA. They're losing over $1 million of land value and half their revenue overnight per 100 acres under SGMA. That's a disaster. And that's done with the stroke of a bureaucratic pen up in Sacramento. So Kings County needs your support, or the Kings County Farm Bureau needs your support. And right now, the only way to save a lot of these jobs is to do away with SGMA. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment online? Okay. Thank you. Now we'll go to item 2-2, cannabis ordinance review. Ms. Valdez.
Good evening, council. So we prepared a cannabis study session today, and we did include the original staff report brought last month. That includes the full municipal code for your reference again, as well as the zoning maps that apply and the fees that are listed in the master user fee schedule. So today, if we could go to the first slide, I want to summarize what the cannabis ordinance is about, starting with where is cannabis allowed in our city. These are the different cannabis operations that we have: cultivation, manufacturing, testing, distribution, dispensaries, and deliveries. Most of these, or all of them, have very specific zones that they are allowed in, depending on the type of operation. Your cultivation, manufacturing, testing, and distribution are primarily in our industrial zoning, which is just south of the city. Our dispensaries are downtown and in commercial zoning. The next slide. Looking at who can operate in the city, you are required to have a regulatory permit, which is site specific. And we have to identify the cannabis activity that is allowed at each individual site. They are also required to enter into a project development agreement. If there is a 50% or more changing of ownership interest at any business, it will require a new regulatory permit per operation. There are multiple requirements and restrictions for operations. I don't want to go through each one. We've just listed it out, and each one does have a information underneath each of those. So if you just want to look at those, if you have any questions about any specific, the municipal code is attached and lists them out. Next, going over how many cannabis dispensaries are allowed in the city. There's no more than one cannabis dispensary per 12,000 residents. So at the current time, we should only have 2. With our fees and taxes that are applicable to cannabis operations, we have the business license fee, the regulatory permit fee, as well as a revenue raising fee, and those are specified based on the operation.
You have an asterisk here. It says, depending upon the project development agreement.
Yes, so even though we have them listed out in the ordinance, they could be specific to the individual cannabis company that we have.
Are these asterisks less than the stated figures here?
I would have to look at each one and then come back and tell you, because I don't recall offhand if they were less or more.
I'm not sure. I don't think we approved any of those, but they're probably less, if I had to guess.
Well, I think I'd like to certainly like to know at another meeting or something if we could see whether or not we're either meeting that standard
Absolutely. I will find out for you.
on all those 2 asterisks.
I can come back with that. The next slide just captures how much revenue has been collected since the inception of our cannabis operations. Just looking at our revenue raising fees, it does look like we are holding steady at about $370,000 a year. Not as much as we hoped in the beginning, but we are holding steady around there. The next is our licensed operators in the city, listing out who is based on their project development agreement, how they operate. We do have 3 companies listed under dispensaries. You will notice Base Camp is not actively a dispensary, but they are licensed. So at the point that we would reach like the next 12,000 residents, they would be first in line to operate as a dispensary. We have 4 cultivators, only 3 of them are active, 3 manufacturers, and only 1 of them are active, and no current nurseries notated. The other thing of note, some of our development agreements allow for additional license types that are not referenced in our ordinance. We have a few that notate a micro business. However, that's not listed anywhere within our current cannabis ordinance. So that is something that we should look at.
The, under cultivation,
Mhm.
ARA, I don't know how you pronounce it, is that right? ARA Ag.
I'm not sure.
That was opened in
That,
July
but-
2025.
Yeah, that was brought to council last month.
Pardon me?
That was brought to council last month,
Right.
that agreement.
Is that, and that's affiliated with any of these, either dispensaries or other cultivators above,
They are only listed as a cultivator.
but they're not owned or affiliated
No, it's a separate entity.
separate entity.
Mhm.
That one is on what we considered the Helios property, which was already permitted.
Mhm.
So that was what we had approved because it was
Right.
pretty much already approved. It just never came to fruition. So now it's another company taking over that permit or leasing the ground
Right.
with a permit.
Just a new company taking over that property.
And we're only allowed 2 dispensaries,
Correct.
but we have licenses for 3.
Yes.
Why do we do that?
I didn't make those agreements. I'm
I
not
know you
sure.
did that.
That is something that we have to make sure. Yeah, that we are careful in reviewing.
Is the base
Good
camp,
question.
Mhm.
cannabis, do they do online dispensary or?
I'm not sure about that. But,
I don't believe that Base
Okay.
Camp does. I think that they are currently just operating as a cultivator and manufacturer.
Okay.
They don't have people delivering to their door.
Like them delivering to people's stores, I don't believe so.
No, I mean the dispensaries. Is that what you were referring to, dispensaries online?
No, she was asking about Base Camp,
Just that
the
specific
third
one.
dispensary license holder, if they were doing online sales.
And then Hold My Beer, it says that it opened in July 2021. Does that just mean that they got a license? Because to my knowledge, no product has ever been in that building, correct?
That's correct. So we listed them on here because they do have an open project development agreement. It has not been rescinded, but you're correct in that they never came into fruition. So that is something that we should address, which is why we listed it on here. Those need to be actioned.
And then my last question, I'm sorry. Please note some of our development agreements allow for additional license types not referenced.
So that's what I was referring to with the micro business,
Mhm.
is listed out in several development agreements, but it is not notated anywhere within our ordinance.
So what would be our options to remedy that?
We need to do an ordinance review and that would be my first time dealing with that, but
Would that be our only option is to change our ordinances to fit the agreement? Or would we be able to change the agreement to fit the ordinance?
I think that's a Christina question.
yes.
It's an excellent question that I'll have to look into.
Thank you. That was, I believe, all of my questions. Any other questions from council? Sorry.
I have one.
Go ahead.
Mercy, can you go back a couple of slides? One more. That's one. Up. You had it, that one. So getting back to Dr. Gornick's point here. So some of these other development agreements were this is the fee schedule, correct? The current fee schedule? When did this fee schedule take effect?
When the ordinance was adopted.
When was
2019.
2019? Were those project development agreements done prior to 2019, if anybody knows?
I think it was all done around the same time.
Okay, that's all.
I think it's interesting to note that every single one of these bullet points has the 2 asterisks after it. Just
Yes.
interesting.
And that was what caught my curiosity. The other thing is, in terms of the length of the agreement, are they all the same?
No, they vary, and there were 2 that I looked at recently that I think were like 20-year agreements. So they are for long periods of time, yes. And I know that when we're looking at these fees here and the asterisks that are there, Some of the agreements have like Me Too language in there, like if there's a development agreement that's done at a future date that has lower fees than what's in this existing agreement, then that agreement will have its fees reduced.
It's. I'm looking at Christine. We need to do some work on this stuff. This just seems like a lot of ad hoc kind of, I don't know, just my thought when I was reading it, but just kind of some ad hoc stuff in terms of.
I'll just add,
Here's another one, here's another one.
Yeah,
Christina,
it
since-
does vary because they are all different by development agreement and they're not truly a tax. They're fees that are negotiated through a development agreement, which is very different than what I was used to where I came from. Like we had a tax that we took to the voters. So the voters passed a tax on cannabis. And so it was the same for every cannabis operator.
Right.
Here it varies. We have one amount in the ordinance, but then we have multiple development agreements that all have varying rates. And then some of them have that Me Too clause about getting a lower fee if anybody comes in after them and has a lower fee.
Yeah, well, the other thing too, and go back to your chart if you could, please. No, not that one, there you go, that one. Why is nurseries blank? And we've got a number of greenhouses out there. Why is nurseries blank? And there's a number of greenhouses out there.
So I'm not a cannabis expert, but I'll explain it the best way that I understand it. So the nursery license type is someone who grows like baby plant, like a seed into like a little baby plant and then sells to a cannabis cultivator to finish off the plant. And so we don't have anyone that currently does that.
I beg to differ. I think we do.
I don't think they're selling their little baby plants. I
No,
think they're
I've seen
growing them
big-
into big plants.
Yeah, so those
Yeah.
would be cultivators, not
Yeah.
nurseries. The nurseries only grow from a seed up to a certain little baby plant and then sell to the cultivators. And I think all of ours are just cultivators.
Who checks on that? Do we have somebody who,
We do. So the state checks on that and then we have someone from the police department that checks on it as well.
but in terms of their, so it's considered wholesale, not retail.
The only retail would be the dispensary. The cultivators, the manufacturers and the nurseries would typically sell to a dispensary or a distributor.
This is
Processing.
Christina question. Do we have the leeway to change that?
I don't have the agreements in front of me, but I'm aware of this issue. I'm planning on having
Okay.
our main guy that does all these types of development agreements look at it, see what we can do.
Thank you.
Any other questions from council? Concern, comments? I'll go ahead and ask the public. Are there any questions or comments or concerns from the public? Seeing none, any online? Okay. Thank you. Chief, we have item 2-3, noise ordinance overview.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This kind of goes with the cannabis issue. Can you bring up the municipal code? So with the noise ordinance pertaining to agriculture under 561 subsection 9. It states mobile noise sources associated with agricultural operations, provided such operations do not take place between the hours of 8 o'clock and 7 o'clock a.m. on weekdays, including Saturdays or at any time Sunday or federal holidays. Because these cannabis farms are just that, they also fall under the Right to Farm Act. Our ordinance, the way it's written, subsection 11 states, any activity to the extent of the regulation thereof has been preempted by state or federal law. So Marissa, can you bring up that Right to Farm Act? I'll try to sum up, Civil Code Section 3482.5. Basically, it says no agricultural activity, operation, or facility shall be or become a nuisance, private or public, due to any changed condition in or about the locality after it has been in operation for more than 3 years. So if you go down to subsection D, this section shall prevail over any contrary provision of any ordinance or regulation of any city, county, or political subdivision of the state. So to kind of dumb it down into my, so I can understand this. Basically the state law and our ordinance itself says that we can't modify it to make these certain noise pertaining to agriculture, these air cannons they're using, we can't prohibit them from using them. We can enforce the hours of operation, which we have. Whether we win that in court or not, we will find out because we currently have a case pending in court. But if you were asked to modify that noise ordinance, I don't think we could. It's the way I understand.
I missed the last part that you said. Did you say that there's a pending case about?
We have a case where we issued a citation for operating the noise cannons. Basically outside those stated hours of operation. To be honest, I don't know if that ordinance is valid if you read into the Right to Farm Act. That was created in the late 70s, early 80s, preventing any city or state to write a law saying that you can't use certain equipment for farming.
Were they cited for the ordinance or were they cited for?
No, I cited them under the 415 section of the penal code. Because I don't think the ordinance is going to hold water in court. The ordinance as it's written anyways, if we were to cite somebody under the current ordinance, we have to go through not really an abatement process, but they get a right to appeal. And so it's more of a civil issue between the city.
Chief, how did they receive the I don't mean like literally, but what was the attitude? Like were they open to?
We had gone back and forth. And the manager that actually managed the farm, he was receptive, saying like he'll comply with the hours of operation. He didn't have any issues with that. And then we started getting into issues with that word not getting passed down to his employees and his employees not picking up all the air cannons or turning them off for the night. And so we had one errant one go off during the middle of the night. And then I think the last one was actually on Easter Sunday. And that's when I had them go out and cite them.
So how about currently? Are they still current?
No, they're only doing it during harvest because apparently that's where.
Well, see, I thought they were doing it when their plants were at like the really small phase.
They're doing it both.
They're doing it both.
They'll do it both.
Yeah, the information I had was just when they were doing it at harvest. But they had tried to work around it. They'd put tinfoil out in their, crops. They'd actually rented a falcon to come in here and scare the birds off, but what we were told was the falcon got
Oh, no.
full
Oh, full.
and stopped hunting, stopped working. So that's kind of where we're at, right?
So what your professional opinion is that the ordinance conflicts with the Right to Farm Act?
I haven't been able to locate where these hours of operation came from. Or if any other, because the Right to Farm Act affects all 50 states. All
Yeah.
50 states have a law in their books saying just that, right? I haven't been able to find where there's any type of provision to operate outside that. Or really to restrict the hours of operation.
For it to be a criminal matter.
Right.
Administratively is where you would be able to do something. So that's something we'd probably have to look at then.
I don't even think administrationally. Because if you read the way the act's written, it specifically says that a county or a city or a state can't enact any type of, they're specific, like a nuisance law.
So my question is that our original ordinance said that all cannabis had to be indoors per se, whether it is an actual indoor facility, hoop houses, greenhouses, whatever. We realized that that one of the cultivation entities was operating outside of that ordinance. So we as a city brought it back and changed the ordinance so that they could be in compliance. And now we're having this issue after the fact of the noise cannons, which wouldn't be an issue if we would have just enforced the existing ordinance and not changed it. So I'm having a little bit of an issue with, we're trying to be good partners, but then it seems like maybe an entity doing business here is not doing their part when it comes to their neighbors. It's my perspective.
And again, I'm always going to have to be an unbiased party. They communicate well with us, our experience. They know the law. They're able to cite the law. And specifically saying that they have the right to do this. I thought there may have been an argument, well, we're in an incorporated city, we're not out in the county. But I don't think that's the case.
I think one of the other unintended consequences of the outdoor cultivation that we get a lot of calls about is the smell in the summertime. And there's not really a way to regulate that either when it was allowed outdoors. And so we have a lot of community members that aren't happy when they're able to smell it. And then the other thing is in regard to them operating, and the reason why this is sort of before you today is we had an individual who wasn't a Lemoore city resident. He lived out in the country, but he was complaining about the noise of the cannons. And so I believe it was Dr. Gornick who had requested a study session on this item. And so that's why it's before you today, is to kind of tell you what the situation is. They are an ag business. They are farmers, they're farming cannabis. And so we have an ordinance that says one thing that sort of conflicts with something else. And then we have residents that aren't happy that they're allowed to operate altogether because of the noise with the cannons or because of the smell.
Well, Chief, I certainly don't want you to be a lawyer.
I think your mic's off.
I want you to be able
It's still off.
to plug in.
There you
go. Okay. I said I didn't want you to be a lawyer. But I want you to be able to enforce ordinances that are rational in terms of that. But and I think there's a but also as we grow as a city, there's one thing about our city limits, but there's also people who own property who live around us, who own property within the city who live around us, that certainly have a dog in this fight. But you said we have a case going forward.
We do,
Okay.
but it's a misdemeanor disturbing the peace where the victim is a private citizen. It's not the city or the state as the victim. We will, obviously have to be there in court if it goes that far. I checked today to see where that case was, just out of curiosity. And the DA's office hasn't done anything with it yet. They haven't denied it.
But I think what you did, you indicate, you stated here that when you went out there, I guess you've been out there a couple times already, right?
We did.
Okay.
And it's like anything else. We'll give them an opportunity to
Sure.
stop.
But I guess the other thing we can ask them is that to let their staff know that there's a time limit on some of this stuff in terms of.
I would assume when he received the citation, that word got put out to the employees.
But we don't know that.
We don't know that.
Yeah.
So are you still in contact with them in any way, shape or form or no?
Oh, absolutely. We
So
maintain.
do you have, or would they be open to like new ideas? And because I know a lot of people that do farming and like there's this new thing that came on for bird control is a motion detection for a laser beam, which makes no noise.
Right.
There's no harm in it. It just scares the bird. It's like the modern day scarecrow.
Yeah, and like I said, I think that this was almost their last resort. They had, I don't know if they've looked into that, but they had cited several different things of what they were trying to do to mitigate it before they went to the air cannons.
Yeah, those on guns, I've set them up myself. Yeah, they run off propane and just a
Right.
loud boom every intermittently minute and a half or so.
Right.
They're
And
very
we get
novel.
calls, we get calls on them a
Yeah.
lot, but it, mainly at the
Well,
north end of town.
I think that's a good suggestion, to at least tell them that we wanted to pursue other remedies.
Yeah, those lasers, that's
Absolutely.
brand new. That's like stuff that's,
I never heard of them.
yeah, I know. It's a simple Google search.
For sure.
I don't know, maybe it's a good idea. I don't know if it'll work for them. But they're green laser beams. Maybe they'll like them.
Yeah, we'll reach out to them, and they told us at least that they were going to at least give us fair warning that they were going to use them the next time they were going to use them. But
The other thing, I remember the change in ordinance again. Yeah, and didn't know the ramifications of that at the time,
Correct.
the outdoor harvesting.
It wasn't a problem at the time. It became a problem after.
Yep, right. Okay.
You were also told it was going to be $1.3 million.
No, originally it was
Just a
going to
little
be
detail.
$3 million
$3 million. I'm
in
sorry.
2019.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns from
Nope.
council?
No, it's good. So what tasks do we have out of this study session? Christina?
I added to my list.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Okay.
Is there any public comment on this item? Mr. Reed?
I just have a question for Stuart. Using the lasers, what about any effect they might have upon the airspace with the jets? From
I
the
think
Navy?
they're mostly they're going to be aimed at the ground. So I don't know if maybe the laser goes haywire or crazy. It's not intended for birds in flight. It's intended for birds on the ground. So it's at an elevated position and it shoots down at the ground.
It's funny you say that, Mr. Reed. I was at work one day in the airplane and one did go haywire just west of the airbase. And we thought we were getting lasered. And we zoomed in and it's a little tripod. It's like a tripod with a little R2-D2 thing on top. And it's just like doing It's green laser and it's strong because it
Yeah.
went 4,000 feet. But yeah,
But they were,
it could affect, but that was only one time. So
well, they would probably fix it because it's not in their interest to shoot the
Yeah.
sky.
Any other public comment on this item? Any online? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
We'll go ahead and move on to public comment. Public comment will be in accordance with the attached policy. This time is reserved for members of the audience to address the city council on items of interest that are not on the agenda and are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the council. It is recommended that speakers limit their comments to 3 minutes each, and it is requested that no comments be made during this period on items on the agenda. The council is prohibited by law from taking any action on matters discussed that are not on the agenda. Prior to addressing the council, any handouts for council will be provided to the city clerk for distribution to the council and appropriate staff. The public will have an opportunity to comment on items on the agenda once the item has been called and the mayor opens the item to the public. Is there any public comment at this time? Mr. Walker.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and good evening, Council. Alex Walker. Putting on my Rotary hat, I wanted to respectfully remind everyone listening at home in the audience and the council before me that November 8th, 2025, save the date, is the Lemoore Rotary Crab Feed. We're very excited to host our annual crab feed. It's how we pay for beds for children, dictionaries, books, all the incredible community service projects that we do for the residents of Lemoore. We pay through this crab feed fundraiser. So I really hope to see everybody there. It's not too late, and it's never too late to get tickets. We'll be having ticket sales very soon, and I'll be in touch and available if anyone's interested in getting some tickets. On that note, with the Rotary Club of Lemoore, we're proud to be sponsoring the 2025 Summer Bash, which will be this Saturday, August 9th, from 4:30 to 7:30 at the Veterans Memorial Park. We're going to be cooking hot dogs for the community, so make sure you come out, enjoy the festivities, grab yourself a hot dog, and you'll be good to go. Now putting on my Lemoore a different Lemoore hat, the Sarah Mooney Museum. I wanted to share everyone to save the date for September 27th. It'll be our annual Legends of Lemoore Cemetery Walk. So you will not want to miss this incredible event. We have depictions of very famous residents, moments in history, a lot of interesting Lemoore history to share, and also a lot of feedback from families who are involved in these groups. So really wanted to remind everyone to get tickets for that and to support your local museum. And then my third and final hat for tonight, I know I have a big head, is for the Lemoore Chamber of Commerce. And I just want to remind everyone that our 29th Salute to Agricultural Banquet is coming up. It'll be Friday, October 3rd at Sidewinder Field. Really hope to see everybody there. Tickets and tables are available. Sponsorship opportunities are available. So if you believe in agriculture in Kings County and Lemoore, the impact it makes, and you want to celebrate with community, this is the event to be at, with incredible food, incredible partners, and just a truly great time. I respectfully yield the rest of my time back to the mayor, and if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other public comment? None online? We'll go ahead and move on to item 3-1, Department and City Manager reports.
Thank you. I just have a few. Mr. Walker did touch on Summer Bash, which is from 4:30 to 7:30 at Lemoore Veterans Memorial Park this Saturday. We extended flag football registration, so it's not too late to sign your children up if you're interested. And we do have scholarships available. So if anyone's worried about the cost, they can complete a scholarship application. Those are available in the rec center and on the city website. We have had some children's art classes going on in the rec center, and those classes concluded last week. So they're doing an art showcase tomorrow from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. in the rec center. It's open to the public. So if anybody would like to come see the art that the kids have created over the last few weeks, everybody is welcome to attend. We have coffee and community tomorrow at 8 a.m. in the rec center. And we have a new event that will be scheduled for Monday, October 13th. So save the date. It will be our first annual Lift Up Lemoore event. And it's a day of service. So we're gathering a list of nonprofit organizations that need some assistance that day, and then also some public facilities. So whether people want to donate, canned goods to Lemoore Christian Aid, or they want to come out and help plant trees or paint red curbs or whatever it may be, we'll have a Google Doc that is a list of all the different things you can sign up for that day.
that's all I have. And then I believe the chief has a few announcements.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. Officer Lizbeth Zendejas started with us yesterday. She will start the FTO process next week, once she completes her in-doc phase. She will be sworn in at the PD next Tuesday at 11, if you'd like to attend. Officers Trim and Moses just completed their FTO phase and they're out there, out on their own. And then our Cars and Cops car show, which would have usually been scheduled for this month. We have moved that. It's tentatively scheduled for October 4th. I guess there were some complaints about the heat, trying to get some more people, some more judges. So once that date's set in stone, I'll let you guys know. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So we'll go ahead and move on to consent calendar. Items considered routine in nature are placed on the consent calendar. They will be considered and voted upon in one vote as one item unless a council member or member of the public requests individual consideration. Item 4-1, approval minutes, regular meeting, July 15th, 2025. 4-2, information only, Measure S sales tax reporting period, April 2025. 4-3, information only, investment report for the quarter ended June 30th, 2025. 4-4, approval, First Amendment to commercial lease agreement between the City of Lemoore and Ryan Rocha, DBA CrossFit Lemoore. 4-5, approval, resolution 2025-29, approving amended and restated Central San Joaquin Valley Risk Management Authority Joint Powers Agreement. 4-6, approval, denial of claim for Mr. and Mrs. Quentin Moore. 4-7, approval, accept and settle claim for Mr. Christopher Gregg. 4-8, approval, denial of claim for Miss Valerie Gonzalez. 4-9, approval, denial of claim for Mr. Israel Bolander. 4-10, approval, resolution 2025-30 in favor of ordering weed abatement. 4-11, information only, cannabis revenue collected through June 30th, 2025. 4-12, information only, warrants June 19th, 2025 through July 3rd, 2025. 4-13, approval, facilities use agreement between the City of Lemoore and American Legion Post 100 for the Veterans Hall located at 411 West D Street. 4-14, approval, authorized payment to, how do you say that? That agriculture or architecture for plans for Old City Hall. 4-15, approval, parcel map 2025-01, south side of Hanford Armona Road, east of Fox Street, APN 021-380-002, submitted by California Gold Development Corporation. And we also have item 4-16 in a special meeting agenda running concurrent with the regular session. 4-16, approval, professional services agreement for concessionaire services between the City of Lemoore and Gotti's Kitchen. Would anyone on council like to pull any of those items? Of course, which ones?
I'd like to pull item 4.2, 4.3, and 4.11. And just a comment, while those are routine in nature, they are also have a great interest in the community in terms of how those are doing. So I think they should be a matter of public record.
Thank you, sir. Any other items that council would like to pull? Any items on the consent calendar that the public would like to pull? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve consent calendar items 4-1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. 16, I read it. The concessionaire services between City of Lemoore and Gotti's Kitchen. It's on the other page.
Ah.
That page.
Hmm.
That's okay. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion by Councilmember Brewster. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Gornick. Councilmember Brewster,
Yes.
Councilmember Gornick,
Yes.
Councilmember Lyons,
Aye.
Councilmember Cruz,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well. Passes 5-0. 4-2. Would somebody like to do a brief overview of that?
So our Measure S sales tax revenue is a local voter approved sales tax initiative that we passed back in November. This is just a report of what we have received to date. For each quarter, we get advanced payments, and then the last payment of the quarter will be a true up of what in total we should be receiving for that. So just letting you know what we've received so far. It is too early to tell whether we are on track at this point for what was originally estimated to us, so we'll know more in the next few months.
Any questions?
Anything off the top of your head in terms of what was originally estimated?
I believe it was 980,000.
Thank you.
960,000, that's what it was.
Any other questions or comments from council? Any questions or comments from the public? Mr. Walker?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Council. We only received $5 for the first quarter.
So the $5 payment wasn't a true payment for the first quarter. I did look into this because it was received before the first payment was expected. So if you look online, it does state that it is typical to receive like a prepayment for it. So essentially somebody made a payment beforehand, basically.
Oh, like a taxpayer.
Mm-hmm.
So the tax was collected before.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments from the public? Any online? I'll entertain a motion.
So move.
We have a motion by Councilmember Gornick,
I'll second.
second by Councilmember Brewster. You guys are killing me today. Councilmember Gornick,
Aye.
Councilmember Brewster.
Yes.
Councilmember Lyons,
Aye.
Councilmember Cruz.
Yes.
And I vote yes as well, passes 5-0. 4-3, is that you as well?
Yes.
All right.
So the investment report for the quarter ending in June 30, we are, I don't want to bore you going over the numbers. We're still very much on track, earning a stable over 800,000 per quarter. So we have monthly meetings with our optimized investment partners, monitoring every time investment is about to mature, getting on top of it and getting a new investment right behind it. Everything is running as expected.
Good. Great job. This is one of the best things we've done as a council. And that's why I think the public needs to see that we're saving money. Okay.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns from council?
Move for the approval.
Any public comment on this item? Now I'll bring it back to council for a motion. I guess, Dr.
I'll make the motion.
Well, okay.
Mayor, I second.
Motion by Councilmember Brewster and a second by Councilmember Cruz. Councilmember Brewster,
Yes.
Councilmember Cruz,
Yes.
Councilmember Lyons,
Aye.
Councilmember Gornick.
Right.
And I vote aye as well. Passes 5 in favor. 4-11.
So the last item on here, this was actually notated in the slide in the cannabis study session, but it is part of our quarterly report. So it's the same information that you saw earlier. We're on track. We actually exceeded our goal for the ending of the fiscal year 25 in our revenue raising at 370,000. Is there anything specific?
Have we done a comparison to prior years?
That was in the study session.
Was
I
it?
listed out
Okay.
from the inception of what year budget to actuals.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns from council? See none? Any public comment? Any online? I'll bring it back to council to entertain a motion.
So move.
I have a motion by Councilmember Gornick,
Second.
second by Councilmember Brewster. Councilmember Gornick,
Aye.
Councilmember Brewster,
Yes.
Councilmember Lyons,
Yes.
Councilmember Cruz,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well. Passes 5-0. We'll go ahead and we have no public hearings, no new business. So before we go to city council reports, I'm going to ask Mr. Reed if he would like to report out from the mosquito abatement.
At our last meeting, we got a report that there was a case of West Nile virus that was detected about 3 weeks ago. And it was determined to be a non-neuro-invasive case. That person has since recovered, and that was east of Stratford. Our revenues for the year were very good in that we came in at 92% of budget. So we were under budget by 8%. Also, our loan payoff is approximately 1.6 million, and we should be able to pay that off in February. That's it. Thank you.
I have a quick question for you, sir.
Sure.
Where does mosquito abatement get their money? Is it fees or grants or?
Basically property tax.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, city council reports. Councilmember Brewster.
Thank you, Mayor. It's been a crazy couple weeks. I'll just start off with, I appreciate you guys letting my little team come in here. That was, some of the kids, they've been talking about that for a few weeks now. So I want to thank the community. We raised just over 25 grand to send everybody. So every family got $1,300 to go towards hotels, gas, food, everything. Mind you, I will never go to Eureka ever again because I took my trailer and that was almost 11 hours. So we did well in the tournament. Some of our guys, half our team is 9-year-olds. The up there, those guys, everybody was all 10-year-olds. So some of our 9-year-olds are some of the best 9-year-olds in the state of California. And our 10-year-olds are the best in the state of California, if you ask me. But, you know, some of those kids up there from, you know, you get above Sacramento, that Northern California, that's like, them kids were like 6 foot tall. So,
They're probably all lumberjacks.
they probably are. They did good. We ended up getting eliminated after the third day. We were top 5 finalists. But that's all my baseball stuff. Fall ball is coming up. If anybody wants to sign up, it's on Lemoore Little League website. Also, I want to thank all the city staff, Ms. Valdez, especially you, because you listened to me and Dr. Gornick want to ask everything about money and all that other stuff. And I think it's good that we just, you know, we go over it in public and makes you look like a rock star. I want to thank the fire guys. Since our last meeting, it seemed like there for a little bit, half the town was on fire. It was a joint effort, let me tell you. I was running around out there before baseball practice, and even she took off, but Faith was out there running around carrying a ice chest, making sure every single person out there, fireman, cop, EMS, everybody had water. So I just want, even Public Works was out there. They had the backhoes, they had a water truck. So I mean, it wasn't just, you know, the normal fire, police, EMS. It was everybody from the city was out there running around, and don't think that doesn't go unnoticed. So thank you to all those guys. And then I too will be out at the summer bash with our water rescue unit, and I may try to get our air unit to drop the old helicopter in, but we'll see. I don't know. With that, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Lyons?
The Commission on Aging, everything is going just normal and good over there. I spoke with Bobby earlier today, and she's got really nothing to report as of right now. I'd like to say thank you to Miss Valdez. She is instrumental for us. Mrs. Trejo, so are you. It's funny when Frank had said, "Oh, this is one of the best things this council has done." I agreed. And I thought Mrs. Trejo was another one that we had done that was exceptionally well. Chief, I'd like to thank you as well. You put up with a lot of stuff, and we'll say stuff. We'll just leave it at that. Council, the rest of council, you guys, the attitude and the ability to work together is pretty good. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Cruz?
I don't have anything, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Gornick?
Yes, first, apologies for being late, but 1:30 I was at UCLA. So I got here at a good time.
Man, that's
And I didn't speak, chief. It's and thanks for having an update on the our groundwater measure on there. Just an update there. There's a lot of discussion between the Kings Water District and the GSA over in Hanford and our GSA, the one that we're under in Lemoore, about whether or not we should combine and be one. And so there's a lot of discussions about that. There's a lot of discussions about what's happening at the federal level in terms of a lot of deregulation of federal policies from different agencies that might affect water in California. And so there's kind of an approach avoidance from some of the farmers about whether or not they really want to get into this, and hope some things change in Washington to consider, focusing on water a little better. We're also trying to expand. One of the things that obviously when they started this groundwater act, they established all these boards, and all these boards have, I believe, 5 members on them, right? 5.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of those 5 people generally represent the city, and then some large ag business people. Well, as we all know, there's a lot of ag business people that aren't represented by this groundwater agency. And so there's been some discussion amongst the growers to expand the number there. So that's going through the process of, and because it was a state agency and they asked the counties to do the appointing, it's got to go back through that same process to get the approval to expand the numbers on that board. And so that's kind of where we're at right now. It'll be real interesting to see how things evolve over the next 6-7 months. So,
And
I too want to make a comment. I'm a frequent visitor, not a regular visitor, but a frequent visitor to the rec center. And I noticed the guys were doing a lot of cleaning there the other day. And that was kind of fun to watch them, because they were on the busy end of a mop, trying to knock down spider webs and things like that. I got a kick out of it. I knew somebody must have talked to them. And let's spray this on, see if it works, kind of stuff. So anyway, it was fun. It was good. It was nice to see getting cleaned up. So I knew something must have been happening with the food service or something like that. So it's good. All good. That's it.
Is that it? Okay. I'll try to be brief. I just wanted to mention that this week is the last week for the summer lunch program that's been being held at the rec center, as well as other locations around the city for students during the summer. South San Joaquin Valley Division membership meeting will be next week. in Bakersfield, and we will be voting on the new executive board members. There was ribbon cutting this last weekend for the She Shack and Chunk Chasers. So if you haven't been able to check out those businesses, make sure you stop by and take a look. LAFCO did not meet. KCAG and CART, I was out of town, but I did listen remotely to the meetings, but there was really nothing to report on either one. So if that was a meeting to miss, I guess I missed a good one. Or the right one. KWRA held a public hearing to increase it's MSW. I'm trying to remember what it stands for, Mr. Walker. Municipal something waste. Anyway, the trash that we take to them. To increase the rate up to $90 a ton. If you recall at one of the last meetings that we had, they just voted to raise the amount per ton from $65 to $75, which was a huge increase in my opinion, and I voted no. I was the only no. This time, when they had the public hearing to vote to increase it to $90, up to $90 a ton over the next few years as they see fit. With one director absent, it failed 2-2. So I was not the only no this time. Corcoran also voted no. Hanford was absent and both county representatives voted yes. One of the directors asked, because it failed, for it to be brought back at the next meeting. So I don't know what will happen, but I know that for the city of Lemoore, that's a huge increase on top of a huge increase. So I don't know what that means for us, but I'll continue to push back on that for our own well-being. Also, I wanted to mention to council that I received an email from the city of Huntington Beach requesting an amicus. I think I say that wrong all the time. Support regarding their case versus Newsom regarding significant implications for Charter City Authority and local self-governance, which they will be filing with the United States Supreme Court on August 20th. They're seeking review on the Ninth Circuit's per se rule prohibiting political subdivisions from bringing constitutional challenges to state action under any circumstances, and a local government or commission, whether or not a political subdivision may be vested with substantive 14th Amendment rights if, under the relevant state constitution, it has substantial independence from state control. The deadline to file an amicus is September 19th. They believe that the amicus support from charter cities would underscore the broader implications of this case and reinforce the importance of preserving local control. So I was wondering if I could get consensus of council to bring that back, and also ask the city attorney if they think that that would be sufficient time to get that turned around.
I already have a memo on it, so ready
Perfect.
when you are.
So do I have a consensus of council to bring that back to the next meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I think that's it. Thank you. That's it. I couldn't remember what the S was. You looked it up, didn't you? No?
I thought it was
Good
a-
job.
I thought it was a master's.
That's true. Did you show up?
Yeah.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Yeah, that's a rough one. So most of the time I'm on time. I did attend the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District meeting this morning. I think the last time I reported out on that, CARB was saying that they were not interested in being a part of that. After that meeting, I did get a call from one of the directors there. It was a good conversation on the value of CARB, whether they saw it as a value to them or not, that there was a value for them to be at those meetings and to have conversation. They did show up at the meeting today. They had 3 items on there, and they gave probably the best presentations that they've ever given since I've been on that board. So I'm hoping to move that relationship forward to where we can get some information, and some of this stuff makes sense from the California Air Resources Board and the stuff that they're, dare I say, shoving down our throats. At least we can maybe get the why behind it. And that's what we assumed them being a part of that meeting was for, to get some of that information to disseminate to our communities. So hopefully things will turn around with that and we'll be able to get a little bit more understanding of the things to come. And maybe even give more perspective of what these regulations mean to our communities, our industries and such. So looking forward to that. So we'll go ahead and we have one closed session item, Government Code Section 54957.6, conference with labor negotiator, agency designated representatives, Christina D. Smith, city attorney, and Marissa Trejo, city manager. Employee organizations, Lemoore Police Officers Association, and Lemoore Police Sergeants Unit. So with that, we'll go ahead and adjourn into closed session.